VCU's Common Book Program is an effort to help incoming students learn the strategies for modeling deep, complicated civil discussions about very difficult topics about which we will disagree. And the goal of our program is not to persuade anyone to hold a certain belief or draw a certain conclusion about a difficult topic. Our goal is to help you learn how universities engage in academic discussion, academic debate, academic research, and how we are able to engage civilly and deeply about tough issues.
What does it mean to think critically about important issues? It means we'll work together. We'll start with our own careful reading and then examine arguments and assumptions so that we can all end up with more understanding than we had when we read alone by ourselves. Critical thinking is about poking at our author's ideas to see if they make sense, just as it is about poking around our own ideas to make sure that they too are well-founded. Critical thinking is a challenge because growth and learning are challenges. We'll work on them together as soon as we all come together at the end of the summer. And as you'll hear from some of our faculty, thinking critically often starts with texts like the Common Book.
Reading is a sure way to know about difficult topics. In the VCU Common Book program, that is exactly what we do. We read about difficult and uncomfortable topics in our society, and then we start our conversation about how can we make meaningful change happen.
Hi, welcome to VCU. My name is Josh Gallick, and I'm a professor here in the Department of Focused Inquiry. I want to take a moment to talk about our provocative common book this year, One Person, No Vote by Carol Anderson. The Common Book has always been one of my very favorite aspects of the VCU educational experience, and I hope that it will be yours as well. This text allows us as a community of learners to engage with real-world, complex, thorny challenges. It encourages us to contend with multiple perspectives that truly push us out of our comfort zones. It's always a pleasure to listen and learn from these in-depth conversations in and outside of the classroom. This really is an exciting way to begin your college experience, especially with the upcoming election this fall. As a young, civically minded adult, I anticipate this particular text will raise new questions and help you examine the way voter suppression is undermining the most fundamental American right. Personally, I think you'll find it hard to put down.
Why does it matter if we think critically about difficult issues? Well, as we've seen in 2020, the world is changing fast, and if there's a particular world that you want to live in, it's time to start helping to craft that world. What that means is we all need to be engaged in our world, we need to think about our civic responsibilities, and we need to vote.
Hi, my name is Peter Henry, and I'm a professor of Focused Inquiry. I am excited about One Person, No Vote, the Common Book, this fall at VCU, because I am trying to get my students to think about not just the importance of voting, but in fact its necessity. One of the things that makes me very sad is the fact that I've been teaching a super long time, and every 4 years my students get very excited about voting. But in Virginia we have elections every year. And I'm hoping that this book will help people realize the importance of voting every year in Virginia.
Hi, my name is Kristen Reed. I'm a faculty member in the Department of Focused Inquiry, and I'm filming this today out in front of my polling station, which is the place in my neighborhood where I go when I want to vote. This year, myself and my neighbors have a lot of questions about how our city is going to guarantee safe and equitable access to the polls during COVID-19. And unfortunately, in Virginia, the pandemic is just the tip of the iceberg. Our state has restricted people's access to their voting rights for generations through things like gerrymandering, felony disenfranchisement laws, even simple things like voter ID laws. So I hope you'll join me in thinking about these issues this fall as VCU comes together to read One Person, No Vote.
I'm Felicia Williams, the Associate Dean of the University College and Director of the Common Book Program. With this book, our goal is not to influence how you vote, but rather to give you an opportunity to think about the importance of free and fair elections and the issues that have surrounded U.S. elections in the past. Your time at VCU is about giving you the tools to shape your world. And we think this starts this summer with the Common Book.
But don't just take our faculty's word for it. Here are a few words from VCU students about how the Common Book program, starting with our August conversations, will also help you all develop a sense of camaraderie as we tackle these challenging topics together.
I've always really enjoyed the Common Book, both as a way to learn new thoughts and ideas, and also as a way to connect to other classmates. One of the first things you do when you get to VCU is get into groups with other freshmen or first years and talk about the Common Book. And it's a great way to kind of form the sense of community and meet new people. It's really great.
Hi everyone, my name is Q. I'm a freshman studying business management and I work at the Phil as a peer mentor, and I wanted to talk to you all about the Common Book. One of my favorite experiences with the Common Book Evicted is when we went to Temple and all had a movie night. We were all able to eat snacks and gather and socialize right before the movie. And after, we were able to ask questions, talk about our own personal experiences, and I was able to get different perspectives from others. So I really do feel like you should all check out the new Common Book coming out soon. Bye!
My experience with the VCU Common Book has been very enlightening. It has shown me that VCU is not afraid to bring forth important topics that need to be discussed. I remember the weeks of welcome in August. There were so many first-year students discussing experiences that they've had that were similar to the Common Book. And this has shown me that the programming that is specifically curated for the Common Book has given students discussion points to get to know each other better, but also given them resources that they may never had thought about. So this just gives students like myself reassurance and a sense of community that we all have similar situations that we're going through, but we can go through them together.
The great thing about the Common Book program is that the book chosen is always going to be in some way really relevant to a significant issue right now. So not only are you going to be reading a book that all of your professors and fellow students are reading too, and you're going to be able to engage in events centered around that book around campus, you're also going to be learning a lot about a really, really relevant issue. And so in a lot of cases, not only is the Common Book a book that you read in one or two of your classes, it's going to be a book that really has the potential to shape how you see the world around you.
So how can you make the most of the Common Book program? How can you be open to the shaping of your world? Here's some advice from students.
Hi there, class of 2024. One of the important things that I've come to realize throughout this whole Common Book program is that if you have the opportunity to meet the author, take it. That's exactly what I did my first semester of freshman year, and let me tell you, I felt that I had a much better advantage just by getting a little bit of clarity off things I didn't understand in the book from the author himself. I felt I had much better advantage in understanding the book compared to my peers. I felt I had an advantage in writing papers compared to my peers. I just felt I had an advantage in general. So if you have the opportunity to meet the author, take it, because I guarantee you, you yourself are going to feel an advantage as well. So best of luck, class of 2024. Have a great freshman year.
Hi everyone, my name is Kenny. I currently work at the Phil as a staff member. I study music education and I'm a freshman at VCU. My favorite experience with the Common Book this past year was when the author Matthew Desmond visited our campus at the Siegel Center. What really inspired me about his visitation was when he started talking about the issue of eviction across the entire U.S. It really opened my eyes about the problems that were going on, especially in the Richmond area, and I believe you guys should check out the Common Book this year. See ya!
Hello, my name is Carly Harrison and I will be an upcoming sophomore this year at VCU. The Common Book is a really exciting but also a really important part of your first year at VCU, and you should be really excited to see what comes with the program. The Common Book is a great representation of VCU and the school's inclusion of diverse opinions where we can all come together and discuss a more important matter. So definitely read the book, definitely reach out to other students about the book, and welcome the knowledge you'll gain from the Common Book.
This Common Book in particular will help you see how important civic engagement is, and how every individual can play a role in changing their world. Remember, we are the change. VCU is here to help you figure out what that means for you, and that starts now with the Common Book. In addition to the conversations that will kick off the year in August, we'll have more unique and exciting opportunities about programming throughout the year. So check out our website or the Telegram, and you can also follow us on Twitter at VCU Common Book. Thank you very much.